What's up, YouTube? CHF here, bringing you another episode of Coaching Handheld Football, and today we are going to be talking all about power. What it is, what does it do, whether or not you need it, what the best way to increase it is, and what is a smart way to go about increasing it. So this is something that we haven't really talked about too much, but I think it is worth going into a deeper dive. So as you can see there, my team power is currently 1,038. Well, what the heck does it mean? So up until recently, we were all as a community led to believe that team power only impacted the Overdrive game mode. So if you didn't like Overdrive and you didn't play Ranked Overdrive, power was essentially useless. However, it turns out that is not the case. It turns out that not only does power impact Overdrive gameplay, it also impacts league versus league, intra-league. If EA ever comes around to bringing tournaments, I would think it would apply there. But let's take a look at team power and see what it does. So we're going to go here, simply look at the tab. What is it? So basically, gold or better players are going to start with power tiers. And as you can see, gold 1 is 10 to 20, gold 2 is 15 to 25, elite 1 20 to 40, elite 2 30 to 50, diamond 40 to 70. So golds can basically train up 10 levels, elites 20, diamonds are going to go up 30. Now the question is, they've only rated it there diamond 1. Will there be a diamond 2 in the future that goes like 50 to 80? I don't know. Maybe we'll see that once we start getting natural 95s. I did try to speculate on that by going and looking at like Madden Master 99 overall Antonio Brown, and he is still using the 40 to 70. But what this is going to do, guys, is it's going to compare team power at the beginning of a match. So as you can see there, this side had higher power. It gets +2. It is capped at +5. However, the way this works, guys, is it doesn't matter what players you train. Training up the power on a player does absolutely nothing to that player. So here is how it works. So as you can see, your entire team has power, and you want more power than whoever you're playing against if you want that advantage, because when you get that up to +5 boost, that is boosting the actual stats of every single player on your team by somewhere from +0 to +5 in those game modes. So having more power than your opponents is absolutely going to help you. However, there's some issues with power that I think are really important to cover, and we will go ahead and hop into those. So one, once you train a player, as you can see, it is not cheap to train a player. To train a diamond, the very first level, 343 training points, as opposed to if we go down to like train a gold 1, where it is only 20 training points for that level. Here are the problems. Last year when you trained a player, he became unauctionable. That's not the case this year. You can still auction it, but if you post it for auction, it will wipe out all of the training points and thus the coins that you may have spent in, the players that you have cut, and wipe that out. So even if you auction it and nobody buys it, and you put it back on your team, all of your training progress is lost. Similarly, last season, say you trained somebody up and you got a replacement player. You know, right now, you got 92 overall. What if a 94 overall comes back and you want to replace your 92 overall quarterback with a 94 overall quarterback? Last year, it was simple. Take your 92 that had all the training points, feed them to your 94 is maxed. That does not work in this year's game. You cannot feed a player directly to another player, and if you go to exchange, you can't get those training points back. There is no way, once you spend a training point, whether that guy is on your team for the rest of the year or the rest of the day, before you get rid of him, you will never get those training points back. When you exchange him, you will only get the base level of training points back. So here is my thoughts on that, because there are a total of 30 positions, counting offense, defense, and special teams. So assuming, at least theoretically, that you have a diamond in every spot, maxed out training, that would be a total of 2,100 power, 70 times 30. Now, there are a few things. For example, on defense, the Brian Dawkins that I have, he gives the four other most feared masters as well as himself a total of plus 10 power each. So that could slightly increase. If there's 5 of them, that would get us up to 2,150. So there are other potential ways to boost these power. Plus, don't forget team synergy bonuses. When we go to our lineup to look at our team really quick, you will see that when you have team synergy, you are able to get additional team power points by having a number of players on your squad. So in theory, you can probably get up into the 2,200 to 2,300 range, I would think tops, if you had an absolutely maxed, fully diamond team at this point in the game. However, I think EA is definitely hitting a mark. I personally think that if you put training points into a player, you should have a choice. Because it is not cheap to get a ton of training points into a player. I think you should be given the choice. You can either sell him, in which case he loses his training points. But I think if you were to cut somebody who already has training points into them, they should give their base level training points, but also all of the training points that have been poured into that player. However, until that happens, let's talk about how you should best allocate whatever training points you have towards team power. Because again, before I would always say, hey, use your training points to just open up those packs, sell the players, make coins. Still an option for you. But if you're trying to go a little bit harder, trying to get your team to play as well as possible, training points are going to be something that you want to use. So let's talk about where I think training points are best spent. If you have an Elite 2 or Diamond player in the kicker, the punter, or the punt return player, in my opinion, those are the single best places to spend your training points. Reason being, those are useless positions. They serve absolutely no value, especially if you have a diamond there. It doesn't matter if you have a 90 today or a 99 at the end of the season. You don't use your freaking punter or your punt returner. And your kicker is basically just going to kick it into the end zone, which actually this year may be a little better because you can actually get decent returns in this game. I would say prioritize all 3 of those, however, over the kick returner. Because since you can get good plays out of a kick returner, if you get a better kick returner, remember, you can't just take that kick returner and put it into a better kick returner. You're going to lose all of those training points that are spent. So by putting them up on your special teams, it doesn't boost the actual players, it boosts the team power. So it doesn't matter what player you train. What you want to do is you want to spend your training on players that are going to remain on your lineup for the longest amount of time. And that is why I think if you get a diamond kicker, punter, punt returner, even if they're ones now, go ahead, bring their power from 40 all the way up to 70, and just those 3 positions will gain you an additional 90 power that will never become obsolete as long as you hang on to those. Next, you want to prioritize players that are going to be on your lineup for a long time. If you are free to play and you're not spending Madden cash and are probably not going to have the best team throughout the year, where I would think it would be best spent would to be on non-auctionable cards that are higher on your team. Specifically, I think the secondary and this Brian Dawkins, for example, is where I would go to add power. In fact, we're going to go ahead and do it right now. I've got the 288,000 training points. The reason being, this Brian Dawkins will never be auctionable, and since he is a safety with good stats, I can play him at the safety position, and if I get better safeties later in the game, I could move him to the nickel slot, and then all the way to the dime slot. So until I have a full 6 better defensive backs than Brian Dawkins, he is going to be useful. So knowing that, let's see how much it costs to do this. We were at 288, and we're just going to go ahead and train him all the way up. And as you can see, my team power is rising each time that I put this in, but his stats are not changing at all. And as you can see, it started at 300, but here we are. Nope, we are not going to buy 10,000 training points for Madden Cash, or for money. Not a chance. We're going to get a little bit of a lag here, but we're going to go all the way up because I think that this Brian Dawkins, for the reason I said, I don't have any diamond kicker, punter, or kick returner, but look at how expensive this is turning out to be. To do one player is taking, let's see, we were at 288, we're down to 228, so that was about 60,000 training points to do one diamond player all the way maxed out. So if we were to look at that and say you wanted to do the entire team, which is the 30 players, 60,000 times 30 would be 1.8 million training points to train up an entire all-diamond squad. That is a lot to lose, especially when we talk about, well, how do we get training points if we want to boost our squads? That's a great question, and it is one we are going to cover. So, since I was comfortable training Dawkins, because I know he'll be on my team for a little bit, and I am looking to get my power up since it does affect league versus league in case we hit a really high match team that we want to improve. Plus, I do want to move up to Alpha in Band of Brothers, so I need to work on keeping my power up with the rest of the squad. So let's take a look at how we can get more training points and what the best way to get these training points are. So, actually, you know what? I got to make a quick adjustment to the team so we can talk about how much the diamonds will actually give. So if we were to say take out Gronk real quick and just put in a Podunk Jack Doyle over here and go back here so we can compare a diamond. So if we were to exchange a diamond, diamonds starting at 90 overalls are going to give 20,000 training points. And then it goes up to 24,000, 28,000 at 92, which is the highest we have. Now, when we look at Elite 2s, an 89 is going to give us 14,000 all the way down to an 85, which would give us 10,000. So 85 is 10, 86, 11, 87, 12, 88, 13, 89, 14. If we were to drop that down and look at, say, the lower 80s, these are going to go up less. If we were to put in, say, this 80, he's only worth 2,000. And 81, 2,500. And 82, 3,000. So they're only going up by 500. That is not a lot of training points. And when we get to golds, it is even worse, thinking that we need 1.8 million. So what I think the best way to get training points is, if you are trying to do this, is 85 overall tier 2 elite players, since they give 10,000 training points. And going up to an 86, they're obviously going to be more expensive, and they only give an extra 1,000, which is not a big deal. So if you are looking to get 1.8 million training points to do an all-diamond squad, and you are doing it in, at least based on what I've seen in the auction house, as the cheapest way to do it, bid sniping 85s is the cheapest way to get those 10,000 training points. If we were to do that, it would take, to get your 100 or 1.8 million training points, it would require bid sniping 180 85 overall players, and that would allow you to max your power. So if you have an all-diamond lineup and you want to go ahead and do that, bid snipe 85 overalls, get 180 of them, and you can have a 2,000 plus power squad. That is only for the guys who are either spending a bunch on Madden Cash, or true auction house gurus and have a bunch of coins, or other whatever, but you need a lot of coins to do that method. For me, who's not doing that, I'll spend some Madden Cash that I bought last year. Gonna work the auction house a reasonable amount, not a ton. However, I am going to try and improve my power, so I want to improve it tactically. So that is going to be the filter that I would put it through, guys, is to make sure that when you put your training points into your squad, that you're not going to be training players that you're going to replace in the very near future. In fact, I would probably not train anything other than a diamond, just because you know that as the game progresses and diamonds are going to be more and more available and things are going up, I just don't think that it is worth spending those training points on something, since it's already going to take you so many over the course of an entire year to get there, that it's not worth putting it into lower players, especially players that you know are going to be replaced. Now, if you come out, another one, I forgot to mention it, when you finish the 99 AB, the mobile master that's a 99, immediately go ahead and train him up. You know he's not going to be replaced. They've said 99 is going to be the base cap on players, so he should be end game player. He should last through the entire season, so when you get him, you may as well get that extra 30 team power just by putting him in and training him up, spending that 60,000 training points on that one player. But anyways, guys, that's the way power works. That's the way I think you should approach power, as well as the most efficient way to build that power up. Now, again, I personally don't like the Overdrive game mode enough for me to really care too much about it at this point. At this point, I would rather use those training points, other than the one that I did for the video, to go in here to the store, and I haven't done it yet because of the places that prices are at. Prices are low right now, but if we hit something where prices go back up, I will probably use those to open some of these packs, but either the gold or elite player packs, and then sell those to get some coins back. However, while I'm on this screen, I want to say another great use of training points, only if you play Overdrive. Only if you play Overdrive. If you don't play the Overdrive game mode, don't waste training points on this. However, the captain and coach training points. Captain badges are extremely difficult to obtain, and training points are actually pretty darn easy to obtain. Again, you can get 10,000 of them for an 85 overall player. And let's just go to the marketplace really quick and see, in theory, what does an 85 overall go for. If we wanted to pull up just a base 85, buy now, 100,000. Let's see if they go for under 100,000. Nope. Let's see, 200,000. And again, this is just buy it now. Look at this. We're getting them for under 200,000. Let's see, maybe 175. We got one there for as little as 165. So if we were to do that, and we assume that we could get all of our 85s, we're super patient and we spend 165,000 coins. We need 180 of them. That would require 29.7 million coins to get your squad maxed in power. Not something for the average players, but if we were to go back and see, let's say we wanted to not look for buy it now, but we wanted to see if we could bid snipe any for under 100,000. And look at that. We have got a ton of opportunities to bid snipe these. That is right there. What's that? Like 7 players just on my auction house. If you're able to get those cheaper, that's going to make the cost go down. But those are still going to be the best way. And again, these are over the 85s. But, you know, again, if you can get an 86 or an 87 or an 80 or an 89 cheaper than an 85, obviously go ahead and get that. You could also, in theory, probably do it with gold 2s, but they're just, it's probably not the most effective. You'd have to look through and really get like 79s on the super cheap in order to make it worth your while to do that. Again, that's the ratio. That's how you calculate it. Find out how much it's worth. Break that down to a cost per training point, and that's the way you should build your power up. Overall, my personal plan, I'm going to only build power points strategically. I may look to pick up those 3 positions, a diamond kicker, a diamond punter, and a diamond punt returner, just so that when I put those training points into my squad, I won't ever replace those guys for the rest of the year. So I'll know that that's an extra 90 training or an extra 90 power that I can pick up for the squad by doing it that way. But guys, that's the way team power works. That's the way it's useful. If it was just Overdrive mode that it worked in like we originally all thought as a community, I would say if you don't play Overdrive, don't worry about it. However, since it does impact League versus League and intra-league if you play League tournaments, and with fingers crossed, I'm hoping for you, I'm wishing for you, EA, I really want you to drop a killer update in December, hopefully fixing LVL, making it more engaging. But if that's the case, I want to at least give you guys the info you need to be prepared for when that happens. So anyways, guys, I'm going to stop it right there. Hope you found this useful. I know it wasn't play calling, but it is strategy as far as how you would go about doing those things. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. And guys, yesterday, look, I'm only going to drop maybe one Clash of Clans video a week, but I like playing the game. I enjoy playing it. So if it's not your thing, just don't watch it. I'll put Clash of Clans in the title even if you're in the notification squad. If you see Clash of Clans, just don't watch it. No big deal. Doesn't bother me. I'm not trying to get views with it. I just like making content I like making. Guys, if you're new to the channel and you do like Madden content or Clash of Clans content, if for some reason a Clash of Clans fan is watching this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It's going to be strategy content, and then I try to bring on other things, interview top players, interviews, game news, stuff like that. And if you want to see what I drop, when I drop it, go ahead and hit that bell icon to join the notification squad. I love you guys. You are the best ever. I will see you tomorrow. CHF out.